Hello and welcome to One Cool Thing, PC Mag's daily show on Facebook, where we show you one cool thing which we are testing out in the PC Mag labs. I'm Sasha Segan, he's Matt Buzzy, we have Social Pete down taking your comments and questions, and today we would of course like to take all of your comments and questions about laptops, desktops, mobile phones, things Apple announced, things Google is going to announce in 2 weeks, anything else that is on your mind about technology today. Now, our device today is the new HP Omen 17 laptop, and really the question is, Matt, is this a good omen?
It's an okay omen.
Okay.
That's how I describe it. It's an okay omen. This isn't going to be foreboding. You're not going to, don't walk under any ladders.
This is like the gray birds go across the sun, and
you
like, discover that
what
like
does it mean?
Yeah, and you discover that like it means that like your coffee will be lukewarm but not disgusting.
Yeah. You might get a flat tire. Not catastrophic, but not great.
You might get a flat tire, but you'll be able to replace it when you pull over on the side of the road.
Right. Yeah. Just little inconveniences.
Okay.
No, so it's a fine laptop. It's the HP Omen 17. So last year the HP Omen 17 was our editor's choice for mid-range. We got an $1,800 SKU with a 4K screen, GTX 1070, Core i7 Skylake processor. This one, they've ramped up some of the specs. It's a 4K screen again. It's still a 1070. It's a new Kaby Lake processor, still Core i7, and there's 32 gigs of RAM in here instead of the 16.
That's a lot of RAM.
That's a lot of RAM. This one, though, as opposed to that 1800 model, which is a really good value for those parts, they give an exterior redesign, and they bumped up the processor to the newer version, and they bumped up the RAM, which is only like $100 extra bucks. The whole thing, though, costs about $550 more than it did.
Ooh.
And for a processor upgrade jump, which is kind of a given when you release a new line, it's going to jump to the newest generation of Intel's chip. That's usually kind of just included in the cost, maybe a little price raise. All those things kind of added up to more money than I think was worth.
So now we're at like
2,300. Yeah, 2340, I believe.
Not 1049,
Yes,
which is another thing I wanted to bring up.
That is a thing. You can get it to start there. You can configure it lower. I do say that plenty of times in my review. You can get it to start at a lower price if you don't want the 4K screen, if you don't want 32 gigs of RAM. You can get back to that like better price point if you kind of start taking some things off it. But as configured, this kind of more expensive model for roughly the same laptop, really. Looking at the benchmark scores that are in the review, like it's not really a gulf of difference. There's 3 hours and 15 minutes of battery life in our test.
So this is actually a good question about the way we review things. So if you have a laptop, which can be anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000,
yes.
Okay, how do you tell people which laptops it's better and worse than if that laptop has such a wide range of configurations?
Right. Well, you have to. We look at ones that are spec'd out and priced similarly. So if you're going to get, yes, the HP Omen can come at $1,050, but the one we're reviewing is $2,300. We're going to look at other $2,300 laptops and see. Yes, if you like the one thing to say is, okay, if you like the chassis, if you like the ports, if you like what it includes, you can buy that and configure it lower. But if you're comparing this, say, to like the Acer Predator 17, which is around the same size, etc., you just kind of judge head to head. Even if this is a lower possible configuration SKU, the ones that are both ramped up to such a degree, how do they compare once they are ramped up to such a degree? And if you just want the chassis, then buy the chassis at a lower SKU.
It looks like we have some questions out there already.
This is above the minimum specs for VR, right?
Yes, definitely. So talked about the comparison to last year's model and why it has a 3 out of 5 rating. That doesn't mean it's like a bad product or a bad laptop. Like it's a good gaming system. So it has a GTX 1070 in it. The 1060 is the floor. So you're getting more than you need for VR. You're getting way more than you need for 1080p. You can get 80, 90 frames per second in modern games. You can easily do VR, for example. But it's not a 4K gaming machine, which is something I mentioned in my review is kind of counterintuitive with the 4K screen.
Can you 4K game with a single 1080, or do you need a desktop with dual?
You can
graphics
4K
cards?
game with a 1080 at 30 frames per second. You can't get near the 60, and newer, more challenging games probably even might challenge that 30. You can get kind of semi-consistent 30, maybe 35 frames, depending on what you're playing. So it's always, if the dual cards really are the way to go, or a 1080 Ti if you want to be more solid about it.
And at that point, you're really talking a desktop.
Yeah. There are some big the Origin 17, which is another 17-inch laptop, which is over $4,000, does have dual cards in it. So they are out there. But yeah, it is a good competent gaming system. Just the performance versus last year and the price increase, that really is what's playing into the score for the most part.
So now on the front here we've got, now are these the Bang Bangs?
These are the Bang Bang Olufsens. Yes, you got the speakers. The speakers are good.
I like how they are angled to face towards the user as opposed to directly up.
Hit me with those sound waves.
Yeah.
Right in the dome.
Yeah.
No, it's a nice design. I think let's show the lid because I had some things to say about the lid. Some people might like this. Some people might not. So this is the new X design lid. They are doing an Omen X laptop that we don't know much about yet. So I think they're kind of uniting the brand, and they have an Omen X desktop. It's a big, giant cube thing tilted on its side. So that's an X. And so they got a lot of X branding. So they kind of united that because the last one was kind of a flush, smooth, one color finish. This has like 3 different kind of faux materials on it, and there's a lot going on.
I like the more low key gaming logos. So I have to say, I prefer the Lenovo Legion design, which is very low key. But I do prefer this red over Razer's like toxic green. Yeah. It looks like we have a question.
What computer would you recommend to an engineering student or a laptop specifically?
Oh, that's
it's like you're running like SPSS.
Yeah,
or something.
I mean, if you need like something with a discrete card in it and good graphics, you actually want to take it with you, take it to class.
Is the engineering student, what is the engineering student running a GPU for? Or is the engineering student running primarily CPU-related activities?
Mostly CPU-related activities, that's the thing. Any high-end, like ultra-portable, probably have the processing power for that, so the Dell XPS 13.
I think what they need, though, is a lot of RAM.
You need a lot of RAM. This does have a lot of RAM. That's the thing. You will find that stuff in gaming laptops, but then you're definitely getting a discrete card with it. Okay. You might look for a workstation laptop, like the Dell Precision laptop line. Those are very fast and good. MacBook Pro, if you can get away with Mac software, depending on what you're doing, probably.
Yeah, the more I think about it, engineering is about powerful CPU, ton of RAM.
Ton of RAM. Yeah, a video card would be more for media creators, video editing, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing CAD, if you're the kind of engineer who does CAD, then you need that video card.
That's where mine first went when I said video card. CAD was the first thing that popped in mind.
Right.
If you're going to take it with you to class, the Razer Blade, it comes with the GTX 1060. It's 14-inch. It's super portable. It has a good processor.
I mean, the Razer Blade's just lovely.
Yeah, it's just real nice.
Yeah.
It's easy to recommend.
Okay, we're voting Razer Blade.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
For you. It's a decent price for a high-end laptop with a discrete card and good graphics and a really nice screen.
Yeah, and you'll look kind of cool.
Why are most gadget reviewers bald?
It's a great question. Bring down the patriarchy. It's really all you can say, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a predominance of there's obviously a predominance of men in the gadget review world for many complex reasons, but also I think that we're all being slowly irradiated to death.
Yeah, that's probably not helping.
And the sheer amount of electromagnetic radiation in this lab is probably causing all of us to lose all sorts of parts of our bodies.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Fortunately, I have.
Plus, it's so stressful; it just comes right out.
Fortunately, I have all the children I'm going to have, so I'm good with that.
You're set. No, I went bald early. It's all over.
Yeah,
it's all over for me. So yes, if you like this finish, this is a different look than the last one. If you like this, I like to make music. Speaking of engineering students,
let's turn around. Let's talk about some ports.
Yeah,
let's port it.
Action.
Yeah. Is this actually Ethernet? It looks squashed.
Because it has a little jaw.
Oh, cool. It's like a dragon Ethernet. It opens its jaw.
You have to save space on the side so that you can actually fit one in without making it wide enough for a full port.
Okay.
There are a lot of ports. That was definitely something I praised. Mini display port, HDMI, Ethernet, USB 3.0, a USB-C with Thunderbolt 3, headphone jack, mic jack, SD card slot. The other side only has 2 more 3.0 ports.
Okay, but that's good. That's a lot. Yeah, absolutely. And you're not going to be able to deliver USB-C power to this thing because this thing probably takes it needs 90 watts or something.
Yeah. It's not as ridiculous as that the Origin system I mentioned, the SLX.
With the 2 power bricks?
It has 2 power bricks for each card, really. They're enormous, and they feed into an adapter which then plugs into the... It's really something to behold.
Oh, man. This is a heavy laptop.
It's a heavy laptop. It's 8.23. There are heavier ones.
You don't want to carry this to class.
No,
that's
this
for sure.
is not something you want to throw in a bag and bring with you. I think 17-inch laptops, if you're making that choice, other than the Razer Blade Pro, which even in itself is a hefty tab. That's the 17-inch one. It's a hefty thing. It's thinner, but it's not, that just takes up so much space. They're not things you want to commute with. They're kind of desktop replacement gaming systems. If you do move it sometimes, you bring it with you occasionally, you game in different parts of your house and you want to move it. Those are reasons to get a 17-inch
Yeah,
one.
in a kind of mixed use productivity scenario, I feel like the sweet spot right now is 15.
Yeah,
And it has been for years.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go lower than that for gaming.
Yeah.
To me, that gets a little cramped. I mean, the Razor Blade 14 is kind of the same thing, but like, there's a 13-inch Alienware, which for me is a little small. 14's okay for the Razor Blade, and yeah, 15 I think is kind of the sweet spot. But if you're used to playing on a desktop and you have the 24, 26, 30-inch monitors, it's a whole.
But then also, aren't you also potentially plugging this into an external monitor?
You might, yeah, you might. If you want to push it, but it has a 4K screen built in, so like, where are you trying to go really from there?
So you might as well, save some money, get the lower spec version of a laptop that doesn't necessarily have the 4K screen if you intend to just push out to an external monitor anyway.
And I did mention the 4K screen with the GTX 1070 not really being that compatible. You can get 30 frames at older games. You can get 30 frames at some games. More importantly, though, you can stream media at 4K if you want to. You can on the side, and then when you load a game up, you lower it to 1440p or 1080p.
It's not HDR though.
It's not HDR.
Okay.
HDR.
Looks like we got some more questions.
What's the lightest gaming laptop you can think of?
The Razor Blade. It's like, how much does that weigh? Like 5 pounds?
We're just going to
maybe?
keep recommending these Razor Blades.
If you're going to talk about portability and something you can bring with you, bring to class, there frequently are editor choice systems. It's like 5 pounds. Or alternatively, on the much higher end scale, the ROG Zephyrus, the ASUS system, is the first one we tested to use Max-Q, which is the technology that NVIDIA is working with partners on to help get the highest end cards into thinner laptops.
That's the technology where NVIDIA strips all of the parts off of a graphics card and basically welds the chips into the laptop.
It's a toned down version of the real card. So it's the GTX 1080 in it. It's about as thin as the Razor Blade, which has a 1060 in it. It's really light, but that's because of all that technology going into it, and there's a flap that opens for ventilation. It's $2,700.
Okay.
The Razor Blade is $1,700.
Another one.
Can it run PUBG?
It absolutely can run PUBG. Which I play nearly every night, so I would know.
I feel like a lot of the games that people ask about on this feed are often things
not that graphical intensive.
Yeah, not that graphic intensive. Like, people don't ask about stuff that's really going to grind your graphics card. They ask about PUBG. They ask about Minecraft.
Yeah, PUBG can run at low scale. I will say it is a game that benefits more from higher end cards because performance is important. The more frames you get, the smoother it is. You don't want hiccups. So a better card definitely does help you.
This is a very good card.
It is a very good card. It's a big loaded area that you want to render in quickly, and you don't want any frame drops. So a good card is better for that game, even though you can play it on dirty graphics that look like nothing.
Right now, what do we use as games to really crank the graphics cards? What's breaking the high-end graphics cards right now?
The Witcher 3 at 4K is still incredibly hard to run. It's a super detailed world where all the trees are moving and shaking in the wind. If you're at 4K, I mean, that thing, it's going to bring some systems down to their knees. Like even if it's dual card systems, then you're like, okay, it can do 60. Whew. But like other laptops, if I put this on 4K, Witcher 3, which is on here, there's some stutter. You probably lower that 1440p. I play it at home at 1440p on a 980 Ti, and I get probably under 60 frames. So if you're doing 4K, that's a problem.
Okay.
We run Doom, but that game's scaled really well. It's made to run smoothly. There's just a lot of action, so it can dip. A couple other games we run through. But yeah, there's always options.
I mean, I remember running Doom very smoothly at 640 by 480.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah. I heard you can run it on the MacBook Touch Bar.
Yeah, that is a fact. Or your calculator.
Yes.
These days.
Okay. Any more questions out there? Terrific. Well, this has been one cool thing with the HP Omen 17. Our review is up on PCMag.com.
Read it.
It's an okay laptop, but we like the Razor Blade a lot more. And
Alienware 17, if you're looking, one of the ones I mentioned in there, the Alienware 17 R4 is another 17-inch system. A little bit more expensive than this, but the build is a little more premium, so you feel like you're getting a premium laptop. You can also scale that down too. So that's something to consider, the Alienware 17. If you have the money for a laptop that's expensive, the ASUS Zephyrus ROG I mentioned, which is actually portable. So, there's options out there. This isn't a bad laptop by any means. We just don't quite like it as much as the one that came before it and was much less inexpensive.
The laptop world, highly competitive.
It's too similar for more money is basically the bottom line.
And we review a lot of laptops around here. This has been one cool thing. Today is Friday, so we will see you back again at 10 a.m. Eastern on Monday with another cool thing from the PC Mag Labs. Thank you very much.